Well, welcome and good afternoon, everybody, to another Full Sail University online class. My name is Steve Kane, and once again, I am here with the Audio Workstations class as we dive into our Week 4 Lecture 2 on this beautiful Tuesday, the 25th of August, as we're about, holy cow, a few months into this pandemic, it seems like. Do you know that it's closer to Christmas now than we've actually been in the pandemic? We've been in the pandemic longer than it is till we got to Christmas. How do you like that? 4 months. Merry Christmas, y'all. So anyway, doesn't that make time fly? Hey, we got a great studio audience here today. Adrian, James, Jerome, Jesus, Keenan, Leonard, LaQuise, Molly, Nakia, Oleg, Robert, Sean, Sydney, Tyrone, and Zach are all in the house with us today as we jump into our remix review. We're going to review the entire rubric, the entire remix, and make sure that you understand exactly how to turn it in, and then we're going to have a help session afterwards. So buckle up those seatbelts, keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and let's get this party started. Well, for the last time I get to say the joke, well, at least until this trumpet player, y'all finish it, runs out of breath. What? See, I told you that joke was going to get more fun the more we did it throughout the month. So, hey, welcome everybody. I am so glad you're here. Look, you're still playing. All right. Yeah, we're going to have a review. This is the most widely watched lecture all month long. Get it? Because it's the review lecture. Everybody's like, I got to make sure I got to, get what's going on. But hey, I'm so glad that you're here. Make sure you ask a lot of questions as we go through. I'm not going to be teaching new things except when we get towards the end of it, when I show you how I want you to turn it in. So with that being said, let's see, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Give me like, hey, I'm waiting on, need another question or so. All right, good. Thank you, Keenan. Thank you, Sean and Molly. Jesus, nice. Thank you, Jerome. Jerome's got the nice, and Keenan, yeah, the virtual thumbs as well. I like it. Keenan, wow, you are in warp speed today. I like it. I like it with the virtual background there. So, you got some good stuff. All right, well, let's do it. You jump in the course resources, books, and archive, and you'd think that that's probably a good place to keep the remix project guidelines. Easy for me to say, right? Because it's a course resource. And so when you look at this PDF, you will find, and I'm not going to read this to you, but it says for this project. I'm kidding. That's the last time I get to do this joke. Y'all are going to miss those stupid jokes, Did I tell you what makes a bad joke a dad joke? Did I tell you that one? When it's apparent. Yeah, sorry. I got to have a list of these or something to keep track of, that kind of stuff. I bought all right, so here's my last one. I'll tell you, I was disappointed. I went to the pet store. I bought a Boston Terrier, right? That thing sounded like a normal dog. It wasn't going like bark, 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 bark. It sounded normal. Yeah. I went to the zoo one time. It only had one dog. It was a Shih Tzu. All right, here we go. Enough. All right, so let's get up Pro Tools, and we've got Pro Tools up and going. We're going to close what we have, and we are going to go open the remix project that we have. And I've been doing save as is all month long because it will save your. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the same. Wait a minute. No. I don't want a detailed report, but let's go open the very last one. I didn't realize. All right. So we have a mastered bounce. All right. So that's the one we're going to be working with, the mastered bounce. Because remember, we mastered it a little bit. And what would we do to the master fader over here as well? Put that little dither. Hey, you want to learn real quick what dither is? Do you want to be a scarecrow? Outstanding in your field. Because I could tell you just put dither on the master fader, but you know, what does that do? Do you really know what it does? Okay, check it out. This is something that's going to help you visually, unless you're too cool for school and it's like, I'm not going to do what Steve says. All right, so remember yesterday when I said that if you look at a ruler and you have millimeters on one side and you have inches on the other side, that they're not going to line up? That's what happens when you go from like 24-bit to 16-bit. They're not going to line up. So the way to fix this is they put dither in. Dither is noise. All right, dither is noise. All right, so do me a favor. Pick something across the room from you and look at it for a second, right? Now, then do this. Put your hand right in front of your face, and you can still see that object across the room, right? But you've got this noise of your hand that's kind of superimposed. Am I right? Right? Now check it out. Imagine if the noise never changed, like you not moving your hand. Well, now check it out. Move your hand fast and watch how much easier it is to see that object on the other side of the room. And if you move your hand real fast like that, because your mind puts in the missing pieces. It's a psychological thing. Your mind puts in the missing pieces. And so what they do is they interject this noise, this dither, but instead of it being one specific frequency, it's this bunch of different crazy frequencies that vary all the time. So your ear never picks up on it. Just like your eye picked up less on your hand when you did this, it was more of a solid object, right? When you moved it really fast, and think if you could really move it fast, right? So that's what dither is. Now, mastering engineers, they get really particular about what kind of dither they use on their products. I'm not that good of a mastering engineer to talk about the differences of dither. All right, but that's what it is. So when you're turning in your final, you're going to turn in your last one. So let's go back all the way, if you will. Imagine yourself back to week 1. Right? So we've got all of our instruments in, and now we have tempo mapped it. We made our click rock with it. We inserted our chord changes. And we did, all right, so starting from the beginning, we imported all our audio. We tempo mapped it using identify beat to make the click work right with it. Then we inserted our chord changes. Then we copy and pasted the song and made an arrangement, and it ended up something like this. Wait a minute. Setup, playback engine, Zoom audio. There we go. Can you hear this? Okay. I love that offbeat transition that we did. All right, so let's go look. Oh, the other thing, check it out. I'm going to go look at yours, and I'm going to look under the setup session menu, and I'm going to make sure you're at 24-bit, 48K, that you're using WAV files that are interleave stereo. Okay. All right, so let us then go look at the document. So like I said, we imported tracks. We did tempo mapping. I forgot, we created markers. So you're gonna need at least 5 markers. And we then inserted the chord chart, and then we arranged the song. So let's jump down to the rubric. All right, before we get started, a couple things to get you zeros, right? You don't send us any audio. We can't listen to it. So we will have to give you 0. If you don't leave your original MIDI tracks in the session, right? If all we see is audio and there's no MIDI tracks, then that's going to give you 0. And lastly, if you use any of their instruments besides the vocal, that'll get you 0. So those 3 things will get you 0. Everything else on here is worth 5 points. All right. So did you name it correctly? Hopefully by now you'll realize that I'm a stickler for names, right? So first name, last name, and everybody's like, well, yeah. What are you going to tell Rick Rubin? It's like, well, the other producer, David Foster, liked it like this. Right? No. So last name, first name, and please tell me the actual song name. You know what? Artist isn't in there. So sorry about that. But at least the song name, Beautiful or whatever. That you set up your session 24-bit, 48K, wave files, interleave stereo. Your click track is correct from the beginning to the end, and that we see all those tempo changes throughout your entire song. All right, another little pause. Please don't be the person that says, well, on your video, you only did like 15 measures, so that's all I did. You got to have the whole song, right? And then 5 markers that are establishing the structure of the song, something like an intro, a chorus, a verse, a bridge, whatever you think is appropriate. You are not going to be graded if I think your vocabulary is correct in the labeling. Right? Does that make sense? If you labeled it pre-chorus and I thought it was a bridge or something like that, I'm not going to count off. I'm looking to see if there are 5 memory locations in there, and I would like for them to be exactly on the beat. All right. Let's see. Proper key and chord changes inserted to the measures. You may have decided to start using some mixed groups at this point, like maybe with the vocals or something, maybe. I didn't. The markers are clearly labeled, and that's going to just do anything, right? All of your tracks, clips, everything has got a proper label on it. Okay, give me a number 1 if week 1 all makes sense, or all good in the chat room, AG for all good, or W1, something like that. Let me know you're ready to move on. Give me a question mark if you are about to type out a question and I need to pause for something about week 1. Thank you, Jesus and Willie, Sydney, and Sean, and everybody. I saw you in the windows. Very good. All right, so cool. All right, looks like everybody's good. Nobody said a question mark. All right, so let's move on to week dos, or let's just Spanish for 2. Haha, you're not gonna hear those jokes. Well, I guess you might have other folks that joke with you like I do. I just try to do it quite often. So you're like, I'm going to watch this guy just to see what something stupid he says next. All right. So, you know what? 1, 4, 3, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, I think that was the one right there. All right. So let's open that one. So week 2, we started bringing in our instruments. Le instruments, right? So check it out. We brought in our main rhythm, all right? So we had a kick, a snare, and a hat, right? Now, usually those are playing throughout the main song, right? They might not or they might not all be there. Maybe your hat's not going in, whatever. I understand musical arrangement. You know, it's not like you have to have a solid drum track the whole song. I understand what breakdowns are, right? But what I'm getting at is that's something that is like establishing the beat, whereas the secondary rhythm enhances the beat. Does that make sense? Right? Your main rhythm is going to be like, dun, dun, ba, dun, 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 ba. And your secondary rhythm is going to be like, boom, boom, or something like that, right? Something that just kind of helps the beat. Only one loop, but it can be whatever you want. You can use one of the plugins. You can use one of your Apple loops or whatever, whatever you want to do. All right. So we would like to keep them separated, right? So make sure you we used the MIDI event split notes, right, to separate things out, because on a real console, you're going to have them on each on their own IO. So we want them on different tracks in here, right? So the session looked a little something like this, and it kind of, we had it chopped up, right? And then by the time we started, we had our little loop going on. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, and you notice that one vocal that I had as well. I think that day we did a little vocal tweak right here. So when I zoom in on that, that was an audio suite plugin that we used, right? And I know it because it's been relabeled with that EQ3, all right? So, whoa, my keyboard's about to fall. All right, so check it out. Here's what we did, yo. We had all of that. Remember to leave your MIDI tracks in because we're going to go look and make sure that we see your routing and what you did, what plugins that you used. And while we're talking about that, remember, please only use the plugins that we gave you to download for this course. That's what your instructors have. You may have a really cool plugin, but if we don't have it, I can't hear it, right? So now if you just have to do it, then bounce it down as audio and communicate with me beforehand. So I not count you off for that. All right. So down in the rubric, where all the points live, session contains main rhythm, kick. All right. So that's all three of them, all three, right? Kick, snare, and a hat, 5 points. Secondary rhythm, kick, snare, and a hat. All right, so one of the common ones is like, what if my rhythm sucks? I'm not going to enjoy listening to it. Yeah, but is my grade going to suffer? Well, you can see it clearly says right here that only if it doesn't suck. Right? I'm kidding, right? So we're not grading you on if we enjoy listening to it. That being said, you're in a college. You're in probably the best college in the world for what we do. So let me believe that you gave it your all. All right. And what I mean by that is it might be artistic, but you know, boom, 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 boom for a kick drum and just 4 on the floor doesn't really show me that you're using your power of editing and exploring the program. Right. But I'm not going to count off because of your, what you might feel is a lack of musicianship. All right. So, let's see. So secondary rhythm, 3 parts for that, 1 loop. There's 10 points for there. And everything else, you know, make sure at this point, I definitely started using the groups, right? That was under the track command for the edit mix groups down here. See, I started using the drums by that point. So let's see, we did that. And everything is still being labeled. Remember, so at this point, I want to just pause for the cause to make sure, because I had some people leave some of these things in. My technique of production is I add more than I think I'm going to need. But as you're going to see today, before I'm turning it into somebody, I'm going to clean all that up. So everything is labeled and there's no generic labels, right? But so when you see these things like these instrument tracks, if it's not labeled, that's there because I don't want the client to have to wait on me to add tracks. If they say, hey, can you get another track with a blah, blah, blah? Sure, it's already there. I don't even have to add it. All I got to do is put a plugin on it and show it, right? So that's a production style. And then because I know it's got a generic name, I know it's not doing anything in my session. All right. And we're going to clear it up. So I just wanted to clear that up because I've knocked people points for that. And they're like, but yours is right here. Let me do it. And I was like, yeah, but what did my final look like? Right. So just please remember that. Track colors, right? You might want to start organizing because I think it's easier to color as you go, name as you go, things like that. All right. So in the chat room or on the camera for a W-2, give me a W-2 that you're good for week 2 stuff. Give me a question mark if you need me to pause for while you ask a question. Thank you, Molly, Jesus, Tyrone, Willie. Looking at my cameras there. Good, good. I see you, Sean, James, thank you. Sydney and Jerome, thank you. Leonard and Willie, nice, thanks. All right. So, all right, well, cool. Moving on to week 3. So week 3 is when we got the rest of our instruments coming out. So we did our drum instruments, our percussive instruments, and then in day 3, let's see. And I'll tell you what, y'all, I have to say that with your suggestions, I had a total blast doing some of that, because people are always talking about synths and guitars and things like that. So to actually do some horns and things like that really worked out nicely, and I think it was a lot of fun. Why did that not open? Did I just sit here and open the wrong one? Oh, that was it. There we go. I was talking instead of paying attention. See? All right. So now I also was showing you that I started labeling other, using memory locations to get tracks showing and hiding. So we came up with this. Unfortunately, that's going to have to go to voicemail. All right. So let me come over here and hit. Sorry, I can't reach that right now. All right, command equals, right? It goes back and forth. All right, so there. Whoa. So let's go. We started writing up here. So we started doing this. With the boss we. All right, and that was ridiculously loud, right? Because that was just the way the bass was.
How
So
we ripping, said he's saying how we got to keep a mind to
take me to, whoa, 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 whoa.
Got to realize
do we have the horns in there yet?
You drift. Follow I revibes, no get caught up in the rift. I and I steady saying one with the earth. Nothing humbles more than a feeling of your worth. Cause with the boss we always ripping. Said he's saying how we got to keep a mind to
take me to, whoa.
So anyway, we had that kind of coming on, and we started trying. The one thing I did want to use is try to show you every plugin that we had. I didn't quite hit all of them, but I tried to give you a lot of the ones, especially in the Air package with the Grand and the organ and the Expand and the vacuum. So just explore with those, play with those, and remember, like I put in the. Actually, I haven't given you those comments yet. I'm going to start grading your last week's assignment here coming up this afternoon. You'll see your grades populating here today and tomorrow for my sections anyway. And you'll see where I was talking about, I'll probably mention to a few of you as you go through forward, do a save as, and continue to practice on this stuff, because that's what makes you quick. It's like, practicing guitar chords or piano chords or something, doing the quick keys and things like that, and just doing stuff makes you quicker. You don't have to wait for somebody to tell you what to do. Just open up one of my previous projects and just do it again, or do new things to it or whatever. So remix this project over and over, keep working, write new music to it, So we had that, and let's go over to the rubric, and actually let's go back up here first and see what week 3 said. And so we reiterated, only use the plugins we gave you. We got into the score editor. So we made that come alive here. I forget the quick key for the score editor, to be honest with you. But we populated it with our name and the title of the track that we were using. Oh yeah, we started working with jiu-jitsu to see if that would work. Garden, I'm playing with Garden too. I told you that too, I think. But anyway, so we've got a key signature. So it's writing the proper notes instead of having to use accidentals like that all the time. And then we were looking for 4 main instruments, and that's what we'll call a rhythm section, minus the drums. Usually a drums would be like a 5th instrument, but when somebody says, hey, I want a basic rhythm section, basic rhythm section is going to be a drums, and then a bass, and then like some sort of lead, like a piano or a guitar or something like that, and then some sort of pad like an organ or a steel guitar in country music, strings sometimes or whatever, and then some kind of melodic counterpart that does something with the vocal, maybe some call and response. Sometimes it's a horn, sometimes it's a synth, sometimes it's a viola, solo violin or something, whatever it is. And then one of the things that a lot of people like to do is tie in sound effects, you know, wind or rain or traffic or whatever, and really create the sonic ambience of where you're hearing this song. So, and remember, you're kind of hitting this of like spec work, right? You got these ideas. You're looking to be a songwriter, and so you found this way to get acapella tracks. You can find acapella tracks anywhere. Look up YouTube. I mean, you could start writing music to old Beach Boys vocals and such. I mean, it's crazy. Anybody you want to. So it's a way for you to show somebody your work without having to go, you know, do that. Now, granted, you can't sell it and that kind of stuff, but you can say, look at the type of imagination I have and play it for them, you know, privately or on a little, you know, thing, right? So it's just a way for you to do this. And a lot of times people are like, they're enjoying showing people different sound palettes because of this in the video game industry, especially with sound effects, because now you get all the environmental sounds coming at you and things. Because I'll be straight up with you, as a songwriter, I would almost rather a song go get sold to a video game than a movie when you look at the dollars and the revenue and it generates. Mm-hmm. So so 5 instruments or 5 main sounds. So on week 3, a bass, a pad, a lead, a counterpart melody kind of thing, and then some sort of sound effect. All right. Now, you don't have to quantize everything. What I want when people say, but I'm not a this or that, let me hit pause for a second. Am I correct in assuming that your theory class taught you the notes of different chords, like so you could look up and see what a C sharp minor, what the 3 notes of a C sharp minor is? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So what I wanted you to do is to be able to take that chord chart, and again, I'm not looking for musicianship here, but incorporate just some kind of feel in the notes. Maybe pick 2 notes, doom doom doo doom 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 doo doom doom, and remember, you can loop record, and you don't have to record the whole song all at once. You can work on one measure at a time. Find your 2 notes, doom 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 doom, and loop it until you get it perfect, and then move on to another couple measures and loop that until you get perfect, right? So between the editing that we've been showing you, how to work with playlists and things like that, now you've got several different ideas on how to start writing music for yourself, right? Because not everybody wants to commit themselves to, this is the lead line that I like. They want to have 2 or 3 for you to choose from, but they don't want to have 2 or 3 different tracks because they don't want to have to mute a couple of things every time. So I'll have different playlists, right? Now, playlists are not a requirement here. I just mentioned that because I want to know that you know that tool of organization between the multiple playlists and such. And remember, that's what we're intending for you to do, is take the objective knowledge that you learned in that week's assignment and then apply it in a very creative way to this remix. All right, so here's where I do want to point out that I am going to be, right? So I do understand. All right, so we got your song name in the score window, proper key, chord changes, independent bass, and independent lead line, and independent effects. So some people are like, wait a minute, he didn't talk about a pad, right? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to change the word bass to pad, and I'm still going to count off 5 points. Or I'm going to copy independent lead line, and I'm going to put counter melody in there. So don't pull a fast one of like, well, he didn't put the. So I'm going to look for all 4 instruments clearly. At this point, I also said that realistically in the studio in a tracking session, the vocalist isn't going to want to hear their dry vocal, right? So you probably started maybe putting some effects on your vocals at this point, right? Excuse me a quick second. So with that, we wanted you to go ahead and start working with your vocals. And so you may have EQ or compression or something. Make sure that your dynamic effects are on the inserts of those dry tracks. your reverbs and delays and your time-based effects, make sure that you put those on the inserts of your aux tracks, and you're using our time-based routing through the bus system to get there. All right, so make sure you're utilizing the correct routing for those. You may have gotten some more edit groups or mix groups. You may have started using markers like I did to show what tracks are showing and not showing. You may have rendered something with Audio Suite again, using your track colors. All right, that's cool. Give me a number 3. If everything's there, give me a question mark. If you got a question about week 3, awesome. Thank you, James, Tyrone, Keenan, thank you. Sean, good, thanks. And in my chat windows, thank you, Jesus and Keenan, Jerome, Molly, thank you. All right, cool, good. All right, so then we went into mixing, or as my friends say, the mixing. I'm kidding, only my French friends say that. And you know what? It's been a while since I've talked to Remy. Remy was his name, Full Sail grad. So let's get our mastered bounce here, all right? Because that's the one with some mastering plugins on it. Don't save here. Now, I do want to point out that let's go back upstairs for a second. So I gave you here, there is a bullet point that should be here that is also talking about a mastered bounce. All right, so I want to point that out because in the rubric, it does say 3 bounces, right? A 16-bit 44.1 for the CD bounce, a 24-bit non-mastered bounce, and a 24-bit mastered bounce, right? So I showed you how to bounce yesterday. So all that's different is when you do your save as and you start working on your mastered ones, just like we did here, and we put some EQ and some compression on that final master fader. And then we also put dither on that. Just do a bounce before you put dither on it, right? Or check it out. You can either command click on it to bypass it, right? And that would work, right? And do a bounce there so we know that there's the 48K mastered and then the 16-bit 44.1K mastered, all right? So I did want to point out that because I looked up and I was like, something got weird on my document, man. I'm serious. And it looks like, I mean, look how much space is right there. There used to be another bullet point right there. And I think maybe when I don't know what happened. So anyway, when we started mixing, we first talked about effects. We said, all right, we need 4 total, 2 on the vocal, a dynamic, and a time-based at least on the vocal. And then you can have 2 more of your pick on any other instrument that you want to. And those could even be like I was doing some guitar amps and things like that, right? You've got a couple Audio Suite plugins. We did an EQ and stuff like that. So I did not do background vocals, but knock yourself out if you like to. Then I did some automation, and then we started learning about the submaster or subgroups, a lot of different vocabulary terms that you could interchange with that. I labeled them as submasters, so you knew that they were aux tracks. And you can tell by the little down arrow that they're aux tracks there. That the aux tracks I was using just in a clever way to act as a submaster or subgroup to many different instruments, right? And that way, as we had it,
with the boats we always ripping, steady saying,
and I had my masters, so I could take any part of it I wanted to. Make my karaoke mix. Right here, see? We're sitting in August, it's hot as crap, and I got Take Me On going fast as rap, and I can't think of lyrics all quite so good. I'm just rhyming like I wish I would know better, freaking out, cause I can't pound. Gonna sit down, watch Tyrone is sitting in the flower out. It looks like he's in church, but my rhymes are heavenly bound like porch. Okay, that was enough of that. Yeah. So, that was like 80s style rap. We'll try 90s style here in a minute. But we did those bounces. Now check it out. When I did the bounces, they went right here in my bounce files, right? And so I need one more. I did my click, and then so let's just go over here real quick. We'll do cancel that. I got to take my dither. All right, that's bypassed. Now I can bounce it. And so I got a 48K mastered. I think I didn't take the other word off of it. But anyway, let's look in the clips list. That's not going to do it right now. All right, we're going to go to the clips list with it. And then so, yeah. So it named it 1. I forgot to take that off. All right, so now we've got this one, and that is actually all right. So now I've got a mastered 48K, 24-bit, a non-mastered 48K, 24-bit. Come on. And then a CD master that is 16-bit 44.1. All right, so with all those. So now you're ready to turn it in, right? Oh, wait a minute. Let's look at the other things. So we did some vocal automation, right, with volume, some pan, and then the plugin. I did the organ there. So we've got all of our automation. I've got a couple now subgroups, submasters that we utilize. I've got all my subgroups now. Everything is starting to be named, right? So here we go. We're ready to go. So now we're session preparation, right? So I'm ready to do my save copy in, but check it out. So I'm going to do a save. But before I do, I want to just do a couple things here. It's like, all right, so I'm going to go look for all my generic names. All right, MIDI 01. I didn't need that. aux 01, right? Because if I didn't name it, it's not being used. And I don't want to send anything like that out. All right, so I take all my generic names, and I'm going to take those two, and I'm going to delete those tracks. All right, so now nothing here has a generic name. And then because of my way that I record, I never hit record until after I name a track. I shouldn't have anything with other names in here. But let me just show you a quick little cleanup trick here. This is something that is not in the rubric to clean up. I'm just kind of showing you because this isn't a have to do this. This is just makes you a scarecrow outstanding in your field, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of my unused clips except my whole files. And then actually, because I've been doing this, if this is going good, I'm going to say select all of my unused things, right? And because if I'm not using them, I've already got them somewhere else, right? And then I like to clear them, right? And you can either just remove them from the session because I don't want to move them to the trash. I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to delete them. So I'm just going to remove them from the session. That's the safest thing, right? And then so I do that. And now everything that I see is something used. It's something's going to click somewhere and I know everything's used. Nothing is unnamed. And then my production technique of adding multiple more than I need tracks, so I never have to go add tracks all through the session. I just got them there, but I name them as I go and before I hit record. And now look, I got a clean session. There's nothing in here that's unused. There's nothing in here that's unnamed, and I look pro. Everything. My colors are used. My comments are used. Things are hidden if we don't need to. I can bring up tracks with a click of a button instead of fool around over here having to read. Everything's beautiful, right? So now we're ready to turn it in. We're going to do a final save copy in, right? So I do that, dun, 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 and we save it just like we always do. Get our audio files, and then we're going to make sure that we take the words copy of off. You can give me first name, last name, take me. I don't even need to know that it's mastered, right? And then go to the desktop with it, right? And when you save it. So let me ask you real quick, quiz time. What files will not be in that save copy in that I just created? There's only one type of file. All my audio files over here are going to go except 3, actually 4. Which ones? You're right, my bounced files. Yep, look. So check it out. Over here, let's get 2 windows. All right, so check it out. That's my desktop here. So check it out. Take me, right? So look at this. Take me. Look at this. All I've got is the audio files, but I don't have these bounced files, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole folder right here. I'm going to hold down Option, and I'm going to drag it over into my desktop one. And now I got all my bounced files there as well. All 4 of them there. So then I take this final session folder, and I compress that, right? With all my audio files and all my bounce files. It's going to take about a minute or so. I'm just guessing. So Sydney says, literally just thinking that, I forget what I was saying, Sydney. It's been a while since I looked up. I'm not sure what maybe you were just thinking. But if you're thinking what I was thinking, then that's good thinking. Oh, you were thinking Tyrone looks like he's in a church? Is that what you were thinking with all the nice flowers? Oh, no, you were thinking about the bounce files. All right. I like that. So now that we have this zipped file is what you're going to upload to your Dropbox. Now, I know that even though I just said that this zip folder is what you're going to upload to your Dropbox, that somebody's going to then try to upload it to FSO, and I'm going to get a message saying it's too big and it won't work because they didn't watch this. Or I'm going to get somebody that's like, I don't have a Dropbox, I use WeTransfer instead, or a Drive. Can you use that? And it's like, are you going to tell Rick Rubin, oh, I don't do it the way you asked me to, and I do it my own way? How about that? I'm sorry. So, Dropbox, baby. Now, remember, I did not do the entire song, so mine's only 653. Yours might be a gig or a little more. And what that means that if you don't have great internet, it's going to take 3 or 4 hours to load up to Dropbox. Your upload will take 3 to 4 hours to complete. I will also tell you that I'm going to have 5 or 6 email at 11:59 telling me that I don't know what's wrong with my internet. It's taking forever to upload. And what they really mean is I didn't watch your video to see your warning that if I don't have a really fast internet, that it's going to take 3 to 4 hours to complete. Nor did I see that Tyrone lives at church. And Keenan's taking us all over the planet. He was in warp speed. No wonder he was in warp speed to get to that island. Look at that. I dig you. He's like, whoosh, and now he's chilling at the island. No doubt. I like that. Let's see. Join in the fun. I wonder what fun little virtual backgrounds I can do. All right. So look at this. So let's just go back up here. Save copy in. Get all your audio files, name it. I'm going to have somebody leave the word song on there. Like, here's a song. tell me which song it is. I should probably change it to which song, but tell me which song it is. All right. I've had one person throughout my couple of years online actually say first and last and not even tell me their name. So, you know, all right. And then check it out. We copied the bounced files folder in there, right? And then include your bounced file folder, right click, right? Compress that folder with everything in it, right? And then upload it to Dropbox. Hours to upload unless you got fancy internet. Once it does, click the share button. All right. Now, you're not going to see a sunny button. You're only going to see a share button. There's no sunny button. It's only a share button. Because sunny is, man, that joke will just ski right past you. Like, ran into a tree. Man, that's a bad joke. What? I'm out of space. I don't have space for a vacuum. Get it? That's one of those physics jokes. I don't have time to be immortal. All right, so check it out. What you're going to do is you're going to hit a share button, right? Share. Bam. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit copy link. Bam. Just like that. And it says link copied. And then you're going to go over here to, you're going to go to, come on. Let's just go here. All right. Preview. Here we go. I think something's wrong with my internet, man. I don't have one of them fancy like internets. Mama always said when you're trying to show people stuff on a Zoom meeting that your internet's going to be real slow. Hey, do you know what Forrest Gump's password is? 1 Forrest 1. You know what his password is when he has to use a character, a special character? 1 Forrest 1. Get it? I said the exclamation point. All right, stop. Hammer time. Really? All right, let's just go right here. What's going on here? Man, it's kicking me off with something fierce like, man. Look at that. It don't like none of them there pages. Man. All right. So what I was going to tell you is that you go take that link and you go to the week 4 activity that says project completion, right? And you paste that link in and you hit the complete button. I would show you the web page, but it's not loading up. I don't know why. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, those are. So, come on. Yeah, something's weird. All right. Anyway, I'll show it to you when it pops up. So we had, let's at least look over here. So we hit copy link, create a link, and then you go back into the activity and paste that link in and complete the activity. All right. So for the mixing day then, we had EQs or basically dynamic plugins used properly, at least one on the vocal, and then you got 4 somewhere else or 3 somewhere else. Time-based plugins, at least 1 on the vocal, and then you've got 4 things to use there. Make sure you route them properly. We did automation. We did our masters, our sub-masters, those aux tracks. Everything is labeled. You had a couple audio suite plugins, track colors. We had dither on the master fader, and then the 3 bounces that we had. And that's your 100 points. So it should feel pretty good as far as what you've got. You've a pretty cut and dry thing. Remember, I'm just looking to see if this is there and if it's labeled nicely. right? And not just aux track, right? So it's a very objective grading. There's no subjective grading. You're not going to see anybody saying that I didn't like your baseline, so I'm not giving you those 5 points. None of that kind of stuff. All right. Remember, fight your battles. I know some of you have maybe had a tough time with that click track, right? Now is the time where it's only worth 5 points. I would not try to go back and redo your entire project to fix a couple of measures or whatever if it's going to make you turn in your project late, right? It's only 5 points and get it in on time. So because it's going to take several hours to upload, right? This is my favorite time to have that to remind you of the saying, the due date doesn't mean the date to do it, right? That just means it has to be done there. So try it on a Saturday and then have fun on Sunday, right? I always like to try to have my deliverables the day before, because then that day is low stress, right? So make sure that you take into consideration all the points of the rubric, and that you just try us all. Remember the thing that I said on day one, whether you're a new user or you've been using this for 5 years, I want you to be better. I want you to have picked up some quick keys, maybe some workflows, some ways of doing things that may have saved you some time. Maybe typing in numbers for edit places instead of dragging with the mouse, that kind of stuff. The little tricks and tips that they can use you. Let's see, I'm going to put my email, because if you're not in my class, you can't send me a message. So I'm going to put my email, skane@fullsail.com, in the chat window. So you can email me anytime after you get out of the class. I'm happy to entertain questions. Save the YouTube links of the lectures, and that way you can access them after you get out of the class and you're not link dependent on FSO. So save those YouTube things as you can, get them back. And then like I said, if you keep a Word document or an Excel document about even those videos about he teaches this thing here and teaches this thing here, that when later on you got to go find something, now you've got a nice spreadsheet of where everything is. And then let's see, the web address is lakebreezepublishing.com is my website there. lakebreezepublishing.com or Steve Kane Productions on Facebook. So I think with that being said, man, that does it for me. We're going to have a great help session. Remember, if you're watching the archive and something wasn't making sense, that you go and ask your instructor questions. Oh, look, it's now loaded up the web page, but I think that's going to be fine. No, it did not load up the web page. Just quit spinning. So with that, man, hey, it has been a fabulous month. I've had a wonderful time. I want to thank Adrian, James, Jerome, Jesus, Keenan, Leonard, Laquise, Molly, Nikia, Oleg, Robert, Sean, Sydney, Tyrone, Victor, and Willie. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to stick around after class for a help session for anybody that needs help. Send me an email if you need to. I've still got time, or your instructor if you need another help session. We'll be doing another couple of help sessions throughout the rest of the week. And with that being said, man, hey, may the force be with you. May the evil become confused on the way to your house. And you just have a wonderful rest of the time here while you're at Full Sail. Keep in touch with me. Let me know what's going on. Who knows? Maybe you can be my next intern. You never know. So anyway, hey, I'm Steve Kane, again with the Full Sail University online classes with audio workstations for the first or last time this month. Peace out, y'all.